Obamacare is on a collision course with our liberty generally, and the first casualty is religious freedom.
Under the president's health care reform law, church-affiliated schools, hospitals, and charities that provide insurance to their employees must cover the cost of contraceptives.
The Catholic Church says it's a violation of conscience.
The White House says it's not going to back down when it comes to that contraception mandate.
Well, a federal lawsuit has been filed on.
Lawmakers heard from religious leaders today about President Obama's contraception mandate.
The administration impedes religious liberty by unilaterally redefining what it means to be religious.
We've heard a lot in the news the last few weeks about the Obamacare anti-conscience mandate, and people are right to be alarmed at this. It's requiring religious employers to offer insurance coverage that will pay for abortion-inducing drugs, contraception, sterilization, even if that conflicts with their religious beliefs.
When the government can come in and tell a religious organization how they should do business, then it becomes a violation of religious freedom.
The employers are in an impossible situation where the government is really telling them they have to violate their own moral convictions or else basically get out of the business they're in. And obviously that's an unprecedented violation of religious liberty in American life.
The opposition to this isn't just coming from a handful of denominations or a handful of institutions. It's coming from across the religious spectrum. People who don't necessarily share the ideas about the particular service and have no problem providing it.
They're trying to turn this into an argument about whether you believe in contraception. Now, look, I'm not Catholic, and I'm not opposed to contraception. I'm opposed to despotism, and that's basically what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here is the government telling religious institutions that they have to violate their own convictions or else get out of the business of helping the poor or of educating people or of healing the sick, and that's ridiculous. That's totally unacceptable. It leaves no room for institutions that are guided by moral purposes that in any way differ from those of the people in power in the government. This has nothing to do with contraception. This is about whether we still have a free society.
The Obama administration announced this policy back in August, and there was a huge outcry, as there should be, against this religious liberty violation. As a result, the Obama administration issued what it called an accommodation. This was no resolution at all to the religious liberty question at the heart of the matter. And what's more, it ended up just being talk, because at the end of the day, the Obama administration filed the final regulation exactly as it had been written back in August. There was no change at all.
I was first struck by the president's word that it is an accommodation. In other words, the benevolent President Barack Obama has now bestowed upon all of us that he is going to change his mind a little bit.
This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the problems with Obamacare. One of the reasons is that it's the first concrete detail, practically, that we've seen about the essential benefits package. That is, what insurance will have to cover as a part of Obamacare. All kinds of opportunity for moral conflict for Americans. We have handed the moral compass for some of our most personal health care decisions to bureaucrats.
People should have seen this coming. I mean, once you get the government defining, the federal government defining the playing field in health care with the degree of coercive power that was obvious in Obamacare, I think it was implicit in letting Leviathan take over the drugstore.
What this is the natural result of is what happens when you have to pass a bill so that you can find out what's in it.
This is about government control, that this didn't improve health care in any way. But as we've seen over the time that Obamacare has been unveiled, it's just been one situation after another. You know, the government coming in and telling you what kind of health care you should have, who should provide it, and rather than you be able to make these decisions with you and your health care professional, your physician, the government is now going to come in and make these decisions for you.
And I think that this is part and parcel of a larger pattern in the work of the Obama administration, not only in the area of civil society, but also in its relationship to the private economy, where again and again the administration is trying to clear away mediating players, mediating institutions between the government and the individual. We're left only with the government, and that leaves citizens with far fewer options and far less freedom.
Once you start to centralize power, these conflicts are absolutely inevitable. Obamacare is wrong for America because it's fundamentally opposed to the relationship between citizens and their government. We are sovereign citizens. Obamacare turns us into subjects.
What is at stake here ultimately is whether civil society in America will survive, or whether voluntary institutions, voluntary associations will be allowed to function only if they imitate the government.
What it basically does is it says it's up to the government to define the ends of society. And then the question of means is just a question of efficiency. So is it most efficient to have, say, a Catholic hospital promote the ends that are determined by the government, or is it most efficient to have the government do it? But that's, of course, not what civil society is. Civil society is precisely a way for us to decide the ends we want to pursue. And what the Obama administration's approach does is it takes away our ability to determine the ends of our society in any way other than politics.
So you've got one after another. Every time they try to fix this, they wind up slamming into another part of the Constitution. And it shows that this law is fundamentally, down to its DNA, unconstitutional.
The American people have been awakened to what this administration is doing, and I think that they are ready for the fight. It will be a worthy fight.